Number 14. Learn daily physical exercises you can perform at home. This will help to keep you active and reduce boredom in case you need to stay at home. Need help and support? Please contact us at the hotline 311 Psychosocial Support at 722-6575 or 518-4157. Brought to you by PAHO, the OECS Commission, and UNICEF.
The opinions expressed on this TV program by the host, co-host, guests, and call-in listeners or chatters are solely the opinions and responsibility of the original source who expressed them. They do not necessarily represent the opinions of UTV or its affiliates.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night to all those locked in from all parts of the world. Thank you all for joining the Revolution. It is Thursday, the 10th of June, 2021, or as we now have to continue to say, the 5th day of the 6th year of the 5-year term of the Shastny administration. We have shout-outs today, so let's get right to it. Shout-outs to all St. Lucians locked in from Delaware in the USA, as well as those locked in from Charlotte, North Carolina, Austin, Texas, Broward County, Florida, and a special shout-out to all those who are part of the Revolution up in Yonkers, New York, Bed-Stuy, and of course, Mount Vernon. Benton from Soufresh, shout outs to you, as well as Andre Lancico, shout out to you as well. Birthday greetings going out to Jason Darius, hoping you have a wonderful day. All God's richest blessings and hopes for you to see many, many, many more. A message to the Ancillary Village Council, the people of Roseau, Hollywood Roseau, the statistically poorest part of St. Lucia, want to know why y'all think it would be right to send 5 people who are already working for the Village Council to do cleanup works in Roseau, rather than employing the people from the marginalized Roseau community. UWP, Fede Belrose doctrine bullshit again. I would like to send birthday greetings to a great queen and mother, Clotilda. Right, Clotilda, wishing her a blessed day, hoping that she sees many, many more coming from her 3 children, Karen, Kirian, and Tyrone, and of course, her grandchildren. Shout outs to all those locked in from the Virgin Islands, St. Vincent, Dominica, Grenada, and of course, those in Barbados. Shout outs to brother David, aka Hurricane, and also to Uncle Juban, coming from his wife. And his wife, coming from Empress Bobo. Also like to send shout outs to the folks over in Ravin Makok. Yes, bravo to the man, Mr. Vitalis Alexander, a man who walks on crutches day in and day out. The folks of Ravin Makok, for those who don't know, it's in Moshi, it's all steep hills, yet day in, day out, Mr. Vitalis Alexander goes up and down everywhere as a differently abled St. Lucian in an environment that really has no provisions for the handicapped. And all I can say to you, sir, is that it's truly admirable to see the strength which you continue to conduct your daily life in and with. Special birthday greetings going out to a super brother, Sergeant 294, Stephen Auguste, who formally retires today. Greetings coming to you from Johnson Auguste. Right? Let's keep going. Shout outs to the folks down in Margaretwood, as well as those locked in from Chase Gardens, Cap Estate, Vanna, Tiroche, Miku, Canaries Village, Palmis Soufre, Bexon, Formagé, Bel-Air, Lombard, Sanssouci, Labrie Village, Denier Rivière, Monrepo, Basse Joseph, great, why not? The Great Grace View Fort, Ticolor, Kubaril, Cedar Heights, Bocage, and Kako. A note to the powers that be. There's still no ambulance in Canaries, even though one was donated by the funds raised by British Canaries associations. What's going on there? Shout outs to a bosom friend and father I did not have, Sir Julian Robert Hunt. I love him. These greetings coming to you from Glenda in Vieux-Fort. Shout outs to all the staff at the quarantine hotel at Rodney Bay that have not been paid for over a month. Shout outs to Yogi, St. Lucian progeny of Petronella de Turville up in Canada, folks. Yogi's works with Savannah, received a Juno Award, and that is the Canadian equivalent to winning a Grammy in the United States. So again, bravo to another St. Lucian doing us proud over in Canada. Shout outs to Yogi, doing a fantastic job. Sewak has it in Sewak in Bexar. Good afternoon to you. Street Money from Canaries. Thank you very much for all your efforts in Pan Sunday. Martinez in Soufre as well. Shout outs to all the hardworking staff at Blue Waters, as well as those locked in from the Labrie Credit Union and all those down at the Vieux-Fort Fisheries restaurants locked in as we speak. Shout outs to a fantastic mother, Rose in Montreal, Canada, coming from her daughter and grandsons. Also shout outs to a truly great father, Mr. Leo from Jackmel, who's always locked on. Greetings from your daughter and grandsons as well. Big up to Miss Juliana Daniel of Gayabois. She lives in PI now, but greetings coming to her from all her children. And last but not least, folks, for those who have been asking and calling about the t-shirts, once more into the breach this week, Saturday, God spare, from 10 o'clock to about 2 o'clock, I will make sure to be in Castries. We haven't done Castries yet, so I'll pull up by the vendors arcade side so that people who are driving can have easy access. So I'll be there from 10 in the morning till about 2 in the afternoon, like we're doing on Saturdays in general. So anybody that wants their ready t-shirts, they want it in red, they want it in this, they want the Chasney must go, they want all of them must go. They want the call it t-shirts. I've tried to get more of the sizes that people are requesting, and hopefully everybody will be a happy customer when it comes to this Saturday. So where do we start today, folks? Well, it's kind of obvious.
Joachim Henry and his wife Claudia are not facing criminal charges. Their attorneys, Leslie Mondesi and Lon Theophilus, spoke on their behalf after meeting with major crimes investigators on June 9th. The same day, the couple were expected to be charged for allegedly disturbing church services at the Forestier Seventh-day Adventist Church 6 weeks ago on April 24th.
As you're aware, about 10 a.m. this morning, Mr. and Mrs. Henry were required to attend at the Major Crime Unit to hold a meeting with an investigating officer regarding a report that was made to the unit. However, about 9:30 a.m., myself and Mr. Theophilus, we received a call asking us to attend at the Major Crime Unit in advance of this 10 a.m. meeting. We attended and we had discussions with the police. So as a result of our discussions with them, what was originally planned for this morning did not proceed. And also, Mr. and Mrs. Henry were not required to make any appearance at the Major Crime Unit. We've been informed that this matter will be handled differently.
So why did it take police investigators more than a month to pursue criminal charges from an incident captured on cell phone video and widely circulated on social media? Usually, police need statements from witnesses or a formal complaint to lay charges. NBC Prime can confirm the complaint needed to file charges against the Henry couple was not made by the pastor of the Forestier SDA Church. Acting Commissioner of Police George Nicholas, in a June 8th Loop News article, named Guy Joseph as the claimant in the alleged Forestier SDA Church disturbance incident. Police Commissioner Milton Daisy, however, was non-committal on the status of the investigation.
I told you I'll check Mr. Nicholas for that. I don't know anything about that. I'm seeing it on the news and I'm seeing it circling, so I don't know anything about that.
So did you believe
I don't know anything about it.
So as the Commissioner of Police, are you saying that there is no reward?
I am not saying there's none. I'm not saying that. I'm saying I'm not aware. I saw it in the media.
Disturbing a place of worship, which includes churches, is a criminal offense according to St. Lucia's law books. Convictions carry $1,000 fines or a maximum 12-month prison sentence.
Mr. Henry, no, his wife, were never arrested.
No.
They are not facing any criminal charges.
As of now, no.
They've not been
The
charged
answer,
or
not been
any-
charged? No,
Okay.
nothing like that at this particular point in time.
In May, the Henry couple issued 2 written apologies addressed to the Forestier SDA pastor and the St. Lucia SDA mission. Although sympathies were extended to the Henry family, who is mourning the sudden death of their son, President of the SDA mission, Roger Stephen, in a May 3rd St. Lucia Times article, said the church will not condone what transpired in Forestier. Joachim Henry, taking to Facebook on June 9th, offered a prayer and thanked his supporters.
So, folks, for those who don't know, the police are required to investigate once a complaint or a statement has been given. Under section, I think, 567, they are required to move forward and to investigate the matter. Now, they are not investigating a matter based on any threat or supposed act of violence. It is purely about the disturbance in the church. So, one person out of the congregation of the people in the church filed the complaint, and that is Guy Joseph. So the church itself had not filed a complaint. The rest of the congregation, none who were in the disturbance, and I've never condoned the disturbance, they have apologized for it, so they themselves have admitted the transgression in terms of the disturbance, and we know that it is an offense. However, for this case to move forward, the people in the church had to have been disturbed to the point that they would file a claim. So in that case, none of the rest of the congregation, nobody else felt the need to file a claim. The church itself did not file, only Guy Joseph filed a claim. Now, folks, I'll say it as I see it. This comes down to your sense of empathy. It calls for you to look beyond your political tribalism or cognitive dissonances or biases. And you really have to ask yourself, do you think that Joachim Henry is a bad person? Do you think that what he did, as bad as it might have been, do you understand where he is, or are you trying to understand where he is? Do you think his wife also is a bad person? Do you think Guy Joseph is a bad person? Do you understand where he is or what the context of his role or actions are? And then you make your judgment from there. That's pretty much where it rests. For me, I feel sad to see people who have a lifetime and an eternity of grief that they're dealing with right now. I can only look at that, and then I can look at the political context. But I also find it interesting that Milton was the same person that came in and saying that he was going to be a different police commissioner. He was going to be a commissioner for all and so on. Has already found himself, well, I guess I could say he's different. He actually knows less than he should as a police commissioner, and he seemed to know more before he got the position about all the different things, because they were not calling Mosheri when he was commissioner to come to the COVID command center. They were calling Milton. So why now all of a sudden, as he's commissioner, he knows less? So the more they promote you, the dumber you get. I'm just trying to figure out, oh yeah, that's true. It's the same thing that kind of happened with Herman Gill. He said he was better when he was a deputy police commissioner in dealing with crime, and now that he's a senator and a minister. So maybe that makes sense. But let's look at this for the opportunity that it is. Because now we can revisit certain things that are still hanging, both in terms of the police and in terms of the government, since between Guy Joseph and the police, there's an admission that they do have an awareness generally of things that are in the public domain. So let's go back down to Vieux-Fort for a second.
VFR police are on the lookout for a suspected arsonist. NBC Prime has obtained CCTV footage which shows the moments when a Cedar Heights home occupied by 5 family members was set alight under the cover of darkness. Rihani Isidore begins our reporting this evening.
Cedar Heights, Vieux. It's a little after 12:30 a.m., December 18th. Security cameras pick up someone who appears to be carrying what looks like a jerrycan heading toward the front porch of a house. The person seen in the security footage then sets the jerrycan down on the front porch, and within seconds, a fiery explosion erupts. The suspect immediately flees the scene. Those inside the burning house have no idea what just happened. The midnight calm was soon disrupted by frantic screams coming from the burning house.
I heard shouts in the house of my daughter screaming, "Fire, fire." So I just jumped from the sleep, and I noticed there was this big inferno.
Cedar Heights resident Cornelia Jacob lives in the now torched house with 5 other family members, some of them young children.
We ran to the back of the house, hoping to have found a way out or whatever, and the room was filled with smoke, so we came back, and still in a panic, I grabbed a container of water and sent on the fire. And then I realized, hey, this fire is going to kill us if we stay inside.
Jacob had to act quickly to get herself and her family out of the house before the fast-moving fire trapped them inside.
I did the next seemingly logical thing. I jumped through the window that was closest to me. And my boyfriend stayed inside sending water on the fire. My daughter and granddaughter went to another room. In fact, my granddaughter was fast asleep, so my daughter just picked her up and dropped her through a window, and she herself followed. So I jumped the window closest to me, and my other daughter followed in the same window, and she came outside and just took the hose connected to the machine and just started to spray water on the inside.
Thanks to help from her neighbors, the fire was contained to the balcony and was eventually extinguished before the fire service arrived. A report was made to the Vieux fire station. Cornelia Jacob assumed her washing machine might have sparked the fire that night. Her neighbors' security cameras told a much more shocking story.
I decided to find out from my next door neighbor, another next door neighbor, who has cameras around her house, whether it is possible for her to just check her cameras and see if perchance that somebody may have set fire to my house. Not hoping to have gotten the video footage that we did. And she just, in less than 5 minutes, ran back and told me, yes, I am right.
Cornelia Jacob, who isn't known to be shy about her opinions, has her own theories on what might have led to the attack.
Now, as we speak, Ms. Jacob and her family members have identified to the police the suspect based on what they saw in the video. They have identified him months ago and numerous times, and yet to this day, the Royal St. Lucia Police Force in Vieux Fort have yet to even bring him in for questioning. Not even bring him in for questioning. Nobody has been brought in for questioning. Yet, Ms. Jacob and the family have identified the person numerous times walking around Vieux Fort. That's one. I am encouraged as I heard the Prime Minister on Flabo Nation TV, GVD TV, and on Sky FM, Sky Radio. He could refer to Joachim, he can refer to Ernest Hilaire. So that means he's conscious of things that are to be investigated. And I wondered whether he could give any update on these matters.
When they came in, they negotiated with the government, the Ministry of Finance, not the Ministry of Communications and Works.
That's A&M.
Yeah. I was the Minister of Finance and I was the one who negotiated. So that negotiation did not begin at my ministry.
There is some talk of your sister's name being mentioned as part of the contract to build the Bocage Road.
I didn't know that she was a witness to the signing of the agreement. I did not know that my sister signed as a witness to the contract. Now, if I was the one involved in the process, if you ask me if it was inappropriate, I would say definitely it was. But none of these transactions involved me. I had to compile a list based on the contracts that were in the ministry. Pretend as if the projects had not been done and submit it to the Taiwanese for approval.
We won the elections in December 2006. In January 2007, a company A&M was born. And when you realize I was against it, what did you do? You offered me $1 million, didn't you, Guy Joseph? Did you not? For me to support it. And what did I do? You know what I did? I went to report it to Stephenson King. And when I got to the Prime Minister, he said to me, Guy Joseph offered you $1 million. Guy is a madman. He offered me $5 million. Yes, Guy, your crimes against the state. You know, you remind me of Ferdinand Marcos in the Philippines. What did he do? He took the whole national budget and ran away. Yes. You know, Stephenson King indicated to me, and I've said so at meetings, I've said so on TV before, and that has been confirmed over and over. Not making this up, you know. But I wonder what you're offering Alan now. But with hindsight at my disposal, Guy Joseph, I should not have only reported that matter to Stephenson King. I should have reported it to the police for criminal investigations.
So then here comes the big, most obvious question. Whether it is with regard to government on a state level investigations or with regard to the police in general, are we witnessing selective enforcement?
I want to assure the public that I am a commissioner for the people, right?
Yes.
I'm a commissioner for police officers, and it's not a commissioner for any individual political party. I'm the commissioner for St. Lucia, and I'll see to it that all St. Lucians, or everybody, gets fair treatment. Everybody would be treated alike, and that there would be no individual favors given to any groups and so on. Persons would be treated as necessary. Okay, so I just want to assure persons of that. I want to see St. Lucia in a different light. I must put it out there to persons that whichever side, we know persons' ideas are flying out and so on, whichever side, whether it is the government in power, whether it is the opposition, if permission is not granted you cannot have the event, and the police will stop it.
Will police be taking any action against Prime Minister Alan Chastanet and members of Parliament who were seen on video breaching several social distancing protocols in communities such as Orleans, Choiseul, Soufrière and Ancillary last weekend?
Okay, I must say that action has been taken. What I saw and what I picked out was that he was not wearing a mask at the time. I picked that out. So the communication was, we communicated, and from information that I received, I have sent the face shields. We were here thing. I sent 20.
Clashes between law enforcement and citizens in breach of COVID-19 violations continue to spur public debate, as the violent interactions are often caught on camera and widely circulated for public consumption. In a wide-ranging media briefing on Tuesday, the top brass of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force addressed the scuffles with the public.
Members of the public put up resistance and opposition to the police in the execution of their duties. We saw it in Soufrière some time ago. We saw it in Grosile afterwards. And we have several other videos going viral in this regard. I want to say to members of the public that we, the Royal St. Lucia Police Force, have a responsibility to enforce the laws of this country, and once we find that the laws have been broken, we will take action.
However, some quarters have deemed the enforcement as too heavy-handed for non-violent offences and COVID-19 restrictions. But law enforcement has issued a warning to the public to allow officers to carry out their duties without interference.
And it's a warning to members of the public that when the police is out there carrying out our functions, if you are not involved, please do not get involved, because what you find, persons who would otherwise be law-abiding citizens, they jump on the bandwagon just to that, to increase the resistance to the police. I'm asking these persons to stay away, because these very videos that are going viral will be used against you. Once we can identify persons in those videos, and once we can ascertain that they have committed an infringement of the law, they are going to be taken into custody and to be dealt with according to the law.
It was absolute bedlam on Monday, April 26th, near the Minor Basilica of the Immaculate Conception, when law enforcement came up against a crowd of angry, grieving individuals after a young man was targeted for not wearing his mask. The incident escalated when one of the arresting officers drew his service weapon.
If you are told that you are arrested, you are arrested, and you need to be taken down to be dealt with. So in the process of taking this person down, you would find persons struggling, resisting that arrest, which is also an offense, assaulting the officer in the process. We need to take action. We are seeing too many instances of persons just disregarding law and order. And it's not about the officer and these individuals. It is about law and order. We believe that if you are to see a decline in crime in St. Lucia, persons need to change their attitude and behavior. But once that is not changed, crime will not stop.
According to the RSLPF, an investigation has been launched into the latest violent interaction between the police and the general public. There are growing calls for greater training in the use of force continuum, especially in force de-escalation techniques, which can be employed to diffuse tensions in the face of an angry crowd or non-compliant individuals.
Okay, so I am confused here, and I need your help, St. Lucia. Somebody needs to explain to me why, when Daisy was the acting commissioner and the deputy commissioner, he knew of all of the different infractions, whether they be on social media or they be formal reports that have been made. Somebody needs to explain to me as commissioner how he has known and noticed when there have been transgressions by the public and when there have been transgressions by people opposed to the government, whether they be the formal opposition or they be people who are just part of the general public who have openly voiced their dissent when it comes to being offended by certain government policies or actions and so on. Now, as police commissioner, you get what is known as a morning report, right, Commissioner? So for the Joachim Henrich's matter there that's going on, it's passing strange that you don't know anything about it, and yet every single day you get a morning report from every precinct, from every police station around the country. You would get a daily report of all incidents that have been reported. And even if Guy Joseph reported this a month ago, 2 days ago, whatever, it would be a dereliction of duty for you not to know what is happening, especially as it involves a minister and a candidate and a former senator, and also in the middle of a political election season. So that is criminally stupid, or something of a lobotomy has gone on, or Alzheimer's or dementia. That's all that's left. But the other part that troubles me is that major crimes is bringing in and speaking to the lawyers of Joachim Henry for a summary offense. So something that only has a fine of $1,000, something that can be handled in a police station, something that can be handled by low-ranking officers or lower-ranking officers in any police station, whether it's in Lakai or Grosley or Marcia or wherever, they could handle that. You're saying that it has to be handled by major crimes? Folks, major crimes, the name speaks for itself. It deals with major crimes. We're talking about somebody killing 5-10 people with a machine gun, you know, setting fire to the cathedral, ramming through a crowd of people and killing 10-15 people with a vehicle, that kind of a thing, you know, chopping off 5 people's heads, whatever, shooting 15 people, robbing a bank, and you're saying that major crimes needed to handle this and you still don't know anything about it? Okay, let's test this out again. Because the government, the police commissioner and so on have acknowledged, as you just heard, that they also take view of social media clips and footage, right? So let's take a look. Now you've heard, as I played it yesterday, and others have as well, there is a lady who claims to know the person who was driving the vehicle, and she was one of those who was nearly struck down by the careening vehicle. The video can be slowed down to where you can see the license plate of the vehicle. Vehicle has UWP paraphernalia formally stuck to it, which would be also an identifying mark. And there's also a candidate, Guy Joseph, who is a candidate for United Workers' Party, who is a member of cabinet and the government, who could easily be contacted to find out which one of his operatives, supporters, canvassers, whatever you want to call them, guys who go out and hang flags or whatever it is. So there are multiple ways to investigate this particular incident from multiple angles. And yet,
an incident was captured on video showing what could have been a catastrophic clash between a pickup with individuals clad in yellow and pedestrians in red. The video has since gone viral on social media, with many calling for the Royal St. Lucia Police Force to get involved. On Wednesday, Police Commissioner Milton Daisy was asked whether he was aware of the situation and whether the police is investigating the matter.
I am not saying there's none. I'm not saying that. I'm saying I'm not aware. I saw it in the media. I'm not saying they are using police to play political game. I'm saying I cannot report on this now. Okay, Mr. Nicholas was there. That's why I asked you all to check with him. He's in charge of crime. is the officer in charge of crime, he would know, not me.
Daisy says he is unaware of any report being made, and he was made aware of the situation via social media like everyone else.
Via social media like everyone else. Do we have a police commissioner, or does the United Workers' Party have a police commissioner? I'm trying to understand. You are saying that for major issues relevant now, even as you get a morning report, you know nothing about these things except what you've seen on social media. But wait, if you've seen it on social media, shouldn't you still, on your own initiative and in terms of due diligence as the police commissioner, have inquired so that you could have given an update to the public? But you know nothing? You know nothing? St. Lucia, you see what's happening there? And remember, these are the clowns that are going to be in charge of the elections apparatus on the day. So can you imagine you see somebody bribing somebody on the line, you film it with your phone, bold-face a transgression, and you put it in front of mate-face or in front of Shalry-face, like I did the last time when I was showing Shasney in Olio, and Shalry was looking like Fede, he don't want to see the video. Folks, we're in big trouble when it comes to having a free and fair election, because the hierarchy of the police, well, they speak for themselves, and what they're telling you is they're clueless. This is the revolution. Stay tuned.
Thanks for tuning in to your favorite content creator, UTV. To find out more, follow us on our social media platforms: YouTube UTV124, Facebook UTV124, Instagram UTV124, Twitch UTV124, TikTok UTV_124, and Flow TV channel 124. Remember, UTV, TV for you.
Madras. Hey. Free second day. Boom. I like it. Chrome. Ready?
Pani street party se jou sa la. Pani l'argent encore. Si nous toutes prenons responsabilité et faire ça nous ni pour faire, bagay la kay marcher et nous toutes kay manger. En nous tirer la peine nous kay danser encore.
Wear a mask, wash your hands, and maintain a 6-feet distance. If we keep St. Lucia safe, we can keep our economy running.
You're watching UTV, TV for you.
Welcome back, and thank you for staying with the revolution. All those locked in around St. Lucia on UTV 124 on Flow, those locked in on Facebook, those locked in on Instagram, Twitch, on TikTok, on YouTube. Yes, check us out on YouTube. Same thing, UTV 124. Hits Radio 92.1 in the north, 91.1 in the south, that being FM, Asylum, and the crew holding it down for us. And for all those who are also on Twitch, thank you very much for locking in. Now, folks, we're going to prosecute a little bit of a case here, because we've heard about the Belrose Doctrine. Those who did not vote, those seats that were not won by the United Workers' Party are being openly, admittedly marginalized according to Fortuna Belrose and Prime Minister Shasney. So they are telling you that even if you voted UWP, as long as the UWP didn't win the seat, they will still take your taxpayers' money. They will still take your resources, and they will disenfranchise your children, your community, your health institutions, resources, whether it be roads, whether it be schools, whether it be whatever. And they believe that that is right.
I mentioned earlier that when you elect a government, you elect them on the basis of the policies and programs that they set out. The people of Castries East categorically chose to reject the United Workers' Party.
Just hold the line, caller. Go ahead.
Yes, I'm saying the people of Castries East chose categorically to reject the United Workers' Party at the last election. Yeah? 11 other constituencies said to the United Workers' Party, yes, we want to build a new St. Lucia with you, we are on the road with you, and we'll be working with you. And so the government sought to invest in those communities where they bought into the philosophy and thinking, you understand, of the government. It's very important that a community buys into the vision.
It's one thing when you have constituents telling you that they feel marginalized. Okay? It's one thing when you have the constituents saying that to you, or saying that to the politicians, or just saying it in general. It's something else now when you have somebody who's either a minister or an MP or hoping to become an MP or minister making a statement like that, that kind of conveys, well, if you don't buy into our policies and our plans and this and that and the other, you know, basically you're going to be sidelined.
Those words, Mr. Speaker, will go down in history. So, Mr. Speaker, to paraphrase, according to the Belrose Doctrine, if you do not elect the United Workers' Party, if you do not buy into the vision, then you are dead.
I am proud of Fortuna. Fortuna said nothing wrong. I believe that the Belrose Doctrine, and hopefully the persons in Castries East will take our points as positive.
You see this doctrine, this Belrose Doctrine, this has opened my eyes to a lot of things, you know. I understand now why they take it so seriously, why they're so passionate about their party, because they believe, Stanley, that when my party is in office, they will look after me. They will look after my interests, because the other one, the ruling, which I didn't support, they won't check for me. That's how people are thinking. And that was, that was confirmed by that doctrine.
So here's what's happening, folks. The pyramid is being turned on its head. By right, a government or a political party aspires to office on the votes of the masses of the people to do what is in the best interest of the people as the servants of the people. Under Shasney, the Belrose Doctrine of imperialism is a dictatorship model where they believe they have the right to take your resources. They have the right to tax you. They have the right to take those resources and only use it for those who supported them in formal fashion. Now, we're taking that on a macro level, but then think about, as an insidious mindset, how it affects people when it comes to not just the constituencies that were lost, because Fortuna lost by about 500 votes. So that means all of the people who voted UWP inside Castries East have also been victimized by the Shasney administration, and Fortuna Belrose and Shasney extol it as a virtue. The children, the elderly, the sick, the indigent, the poor, those aspiring to greater heights, the communities, underserviced, marginalized along those lines, and deliberately so. Now, what about the constituencies, and this is the part that we don't talk about, what about the constituencies that the UWP won? That should mean that they will be paved with gold. Everything should be perfect. But folks, if you think about the Belrose Doctrine, which is really the Shasney mantra, when you think about it, what it also means is that it gives them the right to take the taxpayers' money of UWP supporters, Labour Party supporters, Green Party supporters, Staff Party supporters, Independent supporters, people who support no party, man, woman, and child. it gives them the right to also, within the constituencies that they have won, they feel that it gives them the right to only give contracts to those certain people that supported them, and also to ignore parts of the constituency and constituents of the constituency, St. Lucian citizens, who they believe or perceive did not support them. So let's say I'm talking shit, and let me prove it to you.
What you see, Mr. Speaker, is what you get. Okay? Mr. Speaker, when you see, I put a picture with me sitting on a block, with me, with the fishermen catching fish, with me riding my bicycle, with me dancing country and western. Whatever you see, Mr. Speaker, is me. I'm not parading anything that is not me, Mr. Speaker. I don't do that for politics. I don't pretend that I'm on a farm because of politics, Mr. Speaker. Everything that I do, Mr. Speaker, is something that I've been doing before. What you see, Mr. Speaker, is what you get. Okay? Mr. Speaker, when you see, I put a picture with me sitting on a block, with me, with the fishermen catching fish, with me riding my bicycle, with me dancing country and western. Whatever you see, Mr. Speaker, is me. I'm not parading anything that is not me, Mr. Speaker. I don't do that for politics. I don't pretend that I'm on a farm because of politics, Mr. Speaker. Everything that I do, Mr. Speaker, is something that I've been doing. Fantastic design. I want to recognize, Mr. Speaker, in the gallery, my attaché, who's also a very keen cricketer and who has been working very closely with the youth and sports activities in the community, Mr. Speaker.
Now, Bradley Felix has the distinction of winning the Choiseul-Salterbus constituency by the largest margin ever, some 800 votes. And while that may not seem huge to some, in a constituency that used to swing UWP to Labour on 50, 30 votes, that kind of margin between Rufus and Lon and Ferguson John in the olden times, if you want to put it, yesteryear, the 80s into the 90s. The fact of the matter is that it is a huge margin because it's not just about a person, or because the community is spread out, it really comes to families, individual families, a lot of ridges, the largest constituency, not the most populous, but the largest geographical constituency. Now, Bradley won that constituency and won many areas that one traditionally won. It was a repudiation of the Labour Party and Lawn and all the rest of that, no problem. Which would mean that you should be governing equitably. But you see, the people and the leeches that have attached themselves to Bradley, just like Guy Joseph and Pinkley and so on, right? Darian there, are reviled in the community because they literally sit in meetings, and don't take my word for it, ask around, and they get to determine who gets all the contracts, and it's one set of people getting contracts. And when you have elderly people and when you have other people, they get admonished and they say, all old people, it's our time now. And that's why Darian and others get it good, while even the young people are marginalized in the constituency. Bradley gives contracts to the people to do work on the NSDC roof, the craft market, and it's botched, it comes out worse, the guy still gets paid, and Bradley doesn't answer the phone when NSDC calls for any form of redress. But I say all of that because I can blanket and tell you that Bradley, even though he got all the support, still is marginalizing the people in his constituency. So first I want to show you, just so you understand, Bradley does know Nationwide and the different contractors like Fresh Start and all of those, because Mr. Bradley that says what you see is what you get, does his PR that way as well. So here we have, and let's show a photo of him. This is Bradley as PR. You can go to his Facebook page, and this is him operating one of the pieces of heavy equipment of the people who are contracted to do roads, including Nationwide, including Fresh Start, and all those who are doing the last-minute road projects in the area after Bradley took, the first time he did the road, through Guy Joseph and Stevenson King, broke up the contract, gave it to all of his cronies, and then the roadworks were botched because there were different levels or different standards of roadworks that were being done. Now come back to me for a second. Now, how do I prove that the whole constituency has been marginalized? Well, folks, whether the people are from Guyabwa, they're from Fiat, they're from Monsieur, whether they're from Lafargue, it doesn't matter. Because the one thing about it is they are all St. Lucians. And yet Bradley is allowing, up to now, people to be let go, St. Lucians to not be working for Nationwide, while, and they're renting at Cedar Heights in Viewfort, they have an apartment down there, being paid for by Nationwide. But Bradley has disenfranchised the entire constituency, not just by allowing it to be plundered by Mangal and Fresh Start and all Skelly and all the other contractors for resources, but even for all that we've sold out for in terms of jobs. In terms of jobs, the same Bradley that can operate their machinery for PR, right, has done absolutely nothing about the Cubans that have been brought in to work for pennies on the dollar while St. Lucians have been left behind. Let's show those Cubans again. The entire constituency. First, they brought the Cubans down for this party, as you can see. And since they'll tell you that, what does that prove? That's just a picture, whatever. Let's show them on the equipment once again. I've shown this before. And let's zoom in on them so that everybody can see that Bradley, even after getting the support of the United Workers' Party voters, those who voted, the people in the community, is willing to disenfranchise the entire community just to play ball with those who will invariably be financing his campaign, just like the Bulgarian bobbolist that got arrested for money laundering and so on, that funded Bradley's campaign the last time. And here are the Cubans that are working instead of St. Lucians, who are being let go on the Nationwide project in Choiseul, right, in Roblo. You know that. And we can come off of that, but that's one example. That's one example. We need to show that this is a consistent theme. So ancillary canneries also supported and voted so that FEDE won. So according to Fortuna, it's very important that you buy into the vision. Very important that you buy into the vision. But yet, somehow, the people in canneries feel that even though FEDE won the seat, that they have been neglected.
Sometimes the best way to show that you care about a community is by doing just that. Not just for a day or a week or for an election, but for decades. Kanawi, Jackmel, Millet, and Slawi.
My entire life has been about community development.
Join victory and say champion.
I bet you didn't remember John Victorin. John Victorin was the candidate that ran against FEDE, and he lost. He ran against FEDE and he lost. And he has continued to remain active in the constituency. People can tell you he's been regularly seen. But FEDE, in amazing fashion, has seemed to have discriminated against the people of canneries, because John Victorin, who is raised in canneries, who lives in canneries, who worked in canneries, somehow, because the people supported John Victorin, canneries, even though FEDE won the ancillary canneries seat, because canneries in terms of the boxes of voters voted overwhelmingly for John Victorin, he has completely ignored canneries. So even though he won the seat, according to Fortuna, and they bought into the vision, instead of going out to try to win over more people, what he has done has literally just ignored canneries, because under the Belrose doctrine, they did not support. So even though they win the seat, they're still marginalizing the people in the areas where they did not get that overwhelming support. Isn't that horrible, folks? Isn't that an assault on our democracy? You want proof? Okay. No, well, I forgot Victorin, but the earpiece thing that threw me off afterwards. When I looked down, I just went straight to 11 in my mind. Anyway.
FEDE? No, I don't want that money. The man have to go.
Only for funeral for the coming gunnery. The funeral.
Not party as you feed. Papa as you feed. Yes. I don't want that man. I want that man to move.
The only person that ever did something in country was Mr. Mondesi. No ministers had nothing in countries. None of them. None.
Nothing good in the place.
Help them. Countries is desperately need help. That one, I can say nothing good. Nothing has been done in countries. There's promise, but nothing does happen in countries.
When Compton was in power, everybody used to work. Something happening. When Kenny came, he took out some things, but he was still managing right. But Chasney is not right at all.
Compton and Chasney, they are the same. They are nothing. They are there for themselves. Can you help in there?
Before.
In Chasney, that's the worst government we ever produced.
When a man says he's a businessman and he has no business before he was into politics, he's not even in his father's business. How could you run a country when you can't even run a simple business?
They only there for big people.
For Chasney, we die already.
Chasney there for big people for tourists alone. Chasney there for tourists alone.
For Chasney, we die.
For millionaire, Chasney. Millionaire.
He's not thinking about the country. He's thinking about himself. Now when you tell me you close shops, you close everything. What about the people that have their bills to pay? You close a rum shop, the person have a mortgage to pay. Every month the person have something to pay. When you close that, how the person paying that now? His light bill, water bill, how they paying that? And they cannot have access to do our money.
He's not doing anything for the people, he's only foreigners, he's taking care of, giving all people money to foreigners. And then I see no investors come and invest their money down here. Instead of coming and invest their money, he's the one like taking the people money, and I see money and all these things, so I'm giving to the foreigners.
King would do a better job.
You just don't come on the television and say tomorrow things close. That's not right.
Chasney is not for the people. Honestly speaking, it's not for the people. It's only for, as before, the rich people and now. When a man is removing the distress fund and all them kind of things, you are not for the small man.
Before Corona, he was doing some bad shit. And as the Corona come there, he's just doing things like he's mad.
Yeah, that's how I feel. He's not a good person.
I don't think we, St. Lucia, will be able to survive under another 5 years of the administration again. Definitely we won't.
Let me tell you something. In history, I started voting from 1979. And this is the worst prime minister I've ever seen in my entire life. I'm 61 years of age. Though I don't look so, but I am. And I've never seen a prime minister like this. Never in my life, never. There is a lot of things he does that's not good. I'm a strong UWP, but I'm putting it where it is.
I would put Compton 10. I would put Kenny 9 going to 10. And I would put Chasney in -5, struggling to try to make it.
Well, even if they go to the garden, Compton countries, there's no money to buy the goods. So just stay there. How many days the food is just in the market, nothing to sell, no money to buy it. We're on the poverty line in Canaries. I must indeed say, every time the politicians go to platform, Canaries is the poorest village. But when they get into office, they just forget about Canaries. They just have Canaries like a passport. Passport for politics. That's what I see.
You know, when we started out discussing the constituency segment, you did mention there are really about 20 little pockets that make up this constituency.
You know, there's so much space between the villages of Ancillary and Canneries, and they're so different as well in terms of the people and their style and so on. When you get to Canneries, there's Anslavady, there's the village, there's also Belvedere. They're all different sections, and they all require their own time and their own effort. And it does. I'm one individual, and so you're pulled into different parts and try to meet everyone as much as you can. So,
yes. What I want to ask the minister. So you talk a lot about tourism. I know you are the Minister of Tourism. But what I'm saying, as you all can see, that tourism is partly dead. So what are your vision for the people of St. Lucia, job-wise? Because you're only stressing on tourism for jobs. And all the people that was in tourism, the locals that was in tourism working for the hotels and things, where are they? They are out of a job. And we don't know for how long. Now supposing another virus, God help us, but let's say, because that is what, we never can tell what that is coming tomorrow. Because did we know that virus would be there? So we have to prepare, and you're supposed to have vision, because that's why they are voting you all in, to have vision and insight of other things that will be able to carry on the economy, and not stressing and basing on only one thing. And another thing I hate about politicians, no matter what side they are, it's like you're thinking that when you'll fix a road, oh, we fix a road. Why we voted you all there? Why we voted you all there? We voted you all to do things in the community that you all get the vote for. Look, you are complaining about Ancillary Canneries have a lot of little holes, a little thing. When you wanted the vote, you went in all the holes, and not the same people that in the little holes that vote. And you're even getting the shut in and the disabled. You're bringing stretcher and wheelchair to take them to vote. But after that, you all don't have time for them. And you're always saying it's so difficult. I'm one person, and it's so difficult for me to go there and for me to go there. No, it is your duty. It is your duty as ministers. And I just cannot understand your politicians. When you all want people vote and for you all to gain money and earn your monies, oh, you all are holier than the Pope. And after that, you all don't have no concern about the nation of St. Lucia, the people of St. Lucia. And you all taking St. Lucia as though, you know, they don't have ears to hear, they don't have eyes to see, they don't have a mind to think. You all making us more ignorant for that fact than you all making us than you all making us wise. And your duty is to educate the nation. And you all to take care of the nation physically, mentally, morally, educationally.
So we've done Canneries, we've done Choiseul, Saltibus. No, we're not leaving Canneries yet. Let's not leave Canneries just yet, because we have an update as of this weekend.
As we speak, we have so many issues in our community. One is that the council workers, they come to me all the time to speak of not getting paid fortnightly. Well, initially it started with them not getting paid fortnightly and getting paid every 3 weeks, so they only get paid once a month now. There are also situations where persons have not gotten paid for months. We also have a situation in Canneries with the river. We have a businessman from Soufrière who comes down to the river every 11, 12 o'clock in the night as if he's stealing the sand to go to bring to Soufrière, and it benefits him as he has a block making company in Soufrière, and he's using our sand to make these blocks, and not one person from Canneries is employed. I don't mind if it was a situation where employment had increased from that sand taking, but not one person from Canneries, so he's benefiting himself, and I'm not sure who else from Canneries, but it does not filtrate down to the population of Canneries. So we need to rectify that. We need to know whether he's paying the council for taking the sand, because it is truckloads, not one. We are talking about many truckloads of sand coming from our river mouth to go down to Soufrière to a block making company. And we as the residents of Canneries, if we need a wheelbarrow of sand we have to pay the council. We have to go and notify the council and pay them. Just for a wheelbarrow, whereas we have truckloads coming from the mouth of our river, and we don't know where it's going, who's benefiting, but for sure we know that the community is not benefiting. Worst government in the history of St. Lucia. Because it's not for the people, it's for himself, his family. People are hungry, and the pandemic really exposed the kind of leadership we're under. Very poor leadership, inconsiderate. He has no track record, but a track record of doing nothing. He's one of the worst I've ever seen. Again, he's not for the people, and they've clearly stated that they go by the philosophy, and the philosophy is that if they do not win in a constituency, there's nothing that they will do for the constituency. So he's keeping up to his party's philosophy by not doing anything for the constituency.
The ship is sinking. Kokaloram, the seas are rough. Oh yes. Ubakafe aye by jealous la way to promet la ufe pathway. We will abandon sheep. We will not stay on it and perish slow. No, 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 no. Kokaloram, it's time to go. Whoa, whoa.
So now we have established, or beginning to establish, that even when you do support and vote for this party and they win the seat, they will still marginalize and target parts of the constituency except those who are part of the FFF, and the rest is Wepucho. So let's see if we can find anywhere else. So they won under Bradley, they won Choiseul Saltibus. Under Fede, they won Ancillary Canneries. Under Spider, they won Grosley. Right? Right.
Rodney Bay Waterfall. Rodney Bay. And Chastney Highway. Right across Bay Gardens.
Yep, Grosley, with a district representative, Spider Montour, who openly admits that he doesn't pay attention in cabinet meetings, even for the most consequential of projects, like the Cabot lands, with the largest project in his constituency, over 360 acres of land, and yet he said he wasn't paying attention in cabinet. Also, he says he doesn't pay attention in cabinet for a lot of the other things that are going on, and yet he's the representative for the most populous constituency. The Fresh Start operatives did not put up signage. They've only had one meeting with the Radway Park Homeowners Association, and they will not respond to the various letters that have been written to them complaining about a number of issues and lack of consultation. Mr. Tiberius Roberts, a Guy Joseph crony, actually took a literal legal pad, sketch pad, and brought the drawing, a hand drawing, over to one of the owners of one of the malls, one of the two major malls in the area, to show what the plan was. And even then, it did not have the schematics, including walkovers for pedestrians in such a populous area. But it's amazing. Folks, I challenge you right now, especially those of you who are affected in the Rodney Bay area, in the Monjiro area, Bois-de-Wages, Lafayette, and so on. If you have water problems related to the bangle, whatever you want to call it, works that Fresh Start are doing, if you call Wasco now, they cannot give you any information with regard to the Fresh Start project, because they, just like the minister, are clueless because Guy Joseph runs all. But you see, a spider, just like Bradley, has no spine. So the dictators of the Prime Minister Guy Joseph, and of course the Lele Prime Minister that we have in terms of Chasney, basically they run roughshod over any constituency and they do whatever they want. So the residents of Monjuro in particular, who cannot get water and haven't had water for days, they call Wasco. Wasco can't tell them anything. They can call their district representative, but the district representative is too busy being kowtowing to Chasney and them that he doesn't stand up for his people. How do you know? Well, he says it himself.
It seems to be an issue.
Well, I mean, well, that is an issue. I've heard of the plans before. I didn't realize that, you know, it will be so soon. But I mean, I tend not to overburden myself with too much. I mean, I tend not to overburden myself with too much.
$15 million Rodney Bay Highway Road Improvement Project aims to ease the flow of traffic upon completion. The Castries to Grosile Highway is one of the busiest road networks in St. Lucia, with some 20,000 vehicles traversing the route. Despite concern over the direct award process, work on the first phase of the project, undertaken by Fresh Start Construction, has been sped up over the past few weeks. This entails the widening of the road, drainage works, pedestrian sidewalks and installation of roundabouts.
Spider, I have two questions to ask you. You, my friend, I could ask you that. Is it true that you went to the meeting when the roundabout was being discussed? And you indicated that you are at the meeting, not in your capacity as district rep, but as a resident of Grosile. Is that so, Spider? Huh? Is it not true that you didn't know anything about that, Spider? Huh? Did you know anything about that road and this and that and the other?
So we've gone through constituencies that they have won, which should not be impacted by the Belrose Doctrine. Choiseul. We've gone through ancillary canneries. We've gone through Grosile. You need more. Oh, what about the much celebrated Soufrière that Herod won?
Win, big up Herod, big up King. You know that we can win. Bon, nous can vote. Win, big up Herod, big up King. You know that we can win. Bon, nous can vote.
Chasney must go, Herod. Chasney must go, Herod. Chasney must go, Herod.
But that's Barron's Drive, folks. That's Barron's Drive just this Sunday. And much like Fort-Saint-Jacques and many other parts of the constituency that Herod has neglected, they always come back and they boast and they tell you, Herod has done for the constituency. You tell them about all of the problems, the consistency with which Herod ignores the health and safety concerns when it comes to the Soufrière Beach Park, the grey water issue, when it comes to the bus terminal, Old Trafford. That area was also a drainage project, which, whether you know it or not, because of the speed at which the rainwater will, in a storm, travels down the Soufrière River, it will burst the banks at anything over a category 2, not hurricane, but tropical storm, and wash out all that infrastructure, because Herod likes to deliver projects on the surface, which, when it comes to the safety and health issues, the part of the flooding of Old Trafford has not been resolved because he took the money and did the glugler part of the project, which is supposed to come after. The same way, like the super polluted beach of the beach park area, E. coli testing has it over 1,000% over acceptable limits, but he never took care of the DCA recommended grey water issue of all the sewage going into that area. So instead he just built the beach park and people can have fun there, not knowing very well that when they go home and they start scratching or they get a UTI, yeast infection, whatever it is, or their eyes start to water or burn or whatever, they don't know what's the causality. Then you have the Soufrière Square, which was 9 feet higher, because when the Soufrière River does burst its banks, it actually washes out the square as well. But he dropped it back down, added $1 million and nothing for that. But the people of Barron's Drive who voted for Herod, When it was convenient for him to go there, when he was running against Dalsaw, no problem. But he has pretty much ignored those people. And once again, you have another issue with sewage in the area. They're not clearing the drains as we entered the hurricane season on June 1st. They are not taking care of the long outstanding sewage problems. Don't know what I'm talking about. The same place they hung the effigy. There was a reason why.
Yo, TA! Casal, kota ayo bala.
So why do the people in Barron's Drive hang him in effigy? Because he's literally treating them like shit. They have open sewage. That's just one part of the area that has open sewage running into the water, running over the surface. Children and families are walking along there. Same area that they, literally same road that they hung him in effigy. And why? You seeing it right there. That video there is from this morning, and when I was there, same thing. Sewage running openly. So then you also have you saw the river. They're not clearing it out, right? Because those people, even though somehow even though Herod won the seat, they've been neglected. They've been neglected. It's not now they've been neglected. Only as elections come in, he finds himself in certain spots. But the people have seen a pattern of discrimination for a while now.
I don't know when last. I don't know when last he will come down that. The minister has nothing doing to help people in the community.
Including ultrasound machines, X-ray machines, delivery room, emergency service.
Nothing is circulating. People don't have much money to spend. Now people living off their savings. You understand? So if there's a package to give to, you know, kind of soften the burden on people, it will work.
Are they putting the needle underneath St. Lucian to behave like America? Right in September. Well, Monday is the 1st of June.
It's evidence to see that the country is broke, that COVID exposed the whole thing. All the time them fellas saying the economy is going well, everything is going well. But through COVID came, we noticed that what they were saying is not that. Because you can see now they don't even have money to pay the civil servants.
Everywhere in the world, in situation of crisis, some level of dictatorship takes place.
I'm under fire, nothing is running.
To me, that's just to stifle the opposition in the unions.
Have a lot of hypocrites on the island.
The opposition have to do something. The minister they put in the money, the minister that do that, the minister they do something for suffering.
We have no new jobs coming in. We have no money circulating. All we see is a bunch of Chinese.
There is nothing for the people. We have to see for other people, only for themselves. Only for themselves.
So even if they want to say, well, I want that done in Super, what not? What can you do? Shall say he's a bully.
Have nowhere to get an income, right? And sometimes what happens is that sometimes we go out there, the Coast Guard, police sellers go back home. When you got bills to pay, right? You got mouths to feed.
So if you open up the country, why do you want to have emergency powers when you have no case? Don't you find that silly?
Where are they getting all that money to start all them contracts? And all them contracts that's going on, that is just an election gimmicks.
Extend the state of emergency. If there anything to compensate people,
we can get $15,000 to small businesses. St. Lucian's got nothing.
I'm not working and I have my son whom, which is unable.
Rep, I think his hands are tied.
What is it to him? Nothing. He just went on and said, well, he better respect. And now a new group of crooks on other monies had to pay them to restart.
We have to move down there, guys. We have to move down there.
I think justice have to happen. Asha says not. He just like Trump.
As if you just destroying everything that going for black people there. As I like.
It's temporary election and things. To have a change, you know?
I think that we can prosper again, but not in justice.
And it's time for that to happen. You know, it's time for that to happen.
Have no respect for the history of the island, guys.
The problem in Tufre is one set that eating, one set that getting everything, one set of people.
Right now there, the foundation is having something like from last night. They're distributing goods inside of there and nobody knows.
Look at Van Gesson Road.
Where that thing is going to.
Yeah, look at Gesson Road.
From last night.
You don't listen to we the people in the community don't listen.
This supplies is coming there from last night. And nobody knows.
And that's not right. The government is elected for the people, not for a select few.
People that working in the foundation, that like the sulfur springs and all that, from last night they distributing that there, inside there.
Going to one set of people.
They should do something for everybody.
They playing politics with it.
So we monitoring them.
Only one set of people is eating. One set of people is enjoying everything and the others are there suffering.
Foundation they playing politics with.
Money disappear here and money disappear there, and people getting material on people buy material to build their houses and it's on the foundation that is being built and built.
They should be giving everybody something.
So why you have a prime minister that don't listen to us and we that put him there?
I think that we can prosper again, but not in justice.
We on the fire, boss.
He came as a friend and start breaking down our projects from the square. And Herod himself was looks at him like a little baby.
People are saying, well, okay, give him another chance again. For him to get a pension, and we still have to suffer again another 5 years.
He will not be sitting down next to him. He will not.
The man demolishing what he's not supposed to demolish when it is under the state of emergency.
Our country is for sale.
Some of us is renting, and the landlord will not hear that coronavirus. They will not hear that.
There is nothing for the people left.
People need help.
They need help.
We have to wake up.
They have how much poor people suffering. They have how much single mothers.
Shastin is the worst man. They never wanted him, they didn't want him, and now he's been worse. They don't want Shastin at all. They want his head off, man. Not literally cutting his neck, but they want him out of government.
UWB can be in power.
We in deep shit.
UWB can be in power, but the Prime Minister have to go. The Prime Minister can't be a Shastin. He cannot be a Shastin.
What do you need to remember? A vote for Herod is a vote for Shasni. A vote for Bradley is a vote for Shasni. A vote for Spider is a vote for Shasni. And the continuation of a Belrose doctrine that doesn't only marginalize people who have voted and constituencies that have supported this government, but also those that have not supported this government, but also those who have supported them are micro-targeted, just like Canneries, just like Barron's Drive and Fort Saint-Jacques and other areas, Palmis and so on. Many of these areas, many of these communities Okay, we need one more example. And now I'm even going to marry in conflict of interest so that you see this one. But first you have to remember that Sarah Flood, upon getting into office, and this is Castries Central, Sarah Flood, upon getting into office, launched, after they shit all over NICE, when NICE had principals assistants, they had farm labor support, they had technicians, they had people working as clerks, people working in all different spheres. Yet Sarah launched her home gardening and housekeeping initiative called Synergy. So that was in the area of Lacroix. That's in the area of Lacroix, going down Formagé side, going down to Marigot, the Marigot entrance. Yep, that is there, and yet they've started to activate, my AP sound producer, they've started to activate the farm, the home gardening type thing. So she has, right now under Synergy, she's taken Concreto's house in La Clery and turned it into a woman's shelter. Sounds noble, doesn't it? And also another constituency project for Castries Central, which is outside of her constituency, which is down by Marigot side, to have a community garden, which I just showed you. But now it's close to elections, so they want to activate stuff. And there's also this thing that has been looming around for a while. You all remember Sarah Flood also was pursuing a car wash facility in the Georgia 5th Park, the gardens and so on? As your reminder.
Shame on you. Love is saying there's no happiness we living so every hour. Nobody care watching poor people suffer. There's a big space between the rich and the poor. Poor medication only man that disappear. For those we elected nobody seem to care. But we live in a death of the money we relate. First come, first up, touching from the sun. If you show up with the money boy you better than no. Let's make this world a better place. Let's send this world for you and me. Let's burn corruption and corruption is killing the nation. Corruption is destroying the mission.
So to me, my thing is, if you can't make a people's situation better, you should at the very least not make it worse, especially if it's for your own personal gain. Now, nobody has explained to me why Sarah Flood Bobre has both her constituency office and a foundation, or whatever you want to call it, a business called Synergy, which is also operating out of her constituency office. It seems to be doing projects. The same people seem to be involved. In the same way that Concreto gets all the contracts, is the same way that I'm noticing that Sarah, the house that she wants to use as a women's shelter is owned by Concreto and so on. And I don't know, so this is not only marginalization of a constituency, but profiting from that as well. That's interesting. How do I know that? Well, what is the premise of that little project for the car wash in the gardens there?
I give you the real rundown how that car was built in the building there. Alright? the tenants in the CDC had a problem with my pressure wash when I walk in by the roadside. Okay, they went to the city police. They be complaining concerning my pressure wash making noise. City police came to me, asked me what time I'm using my pressure wash water. I tell them I'm using my pressure wash 6 o'clock in the morning till 6 o'clock in the evening. You understand? Well, we talk. They never stop me. When the people noticed that they never stopped me, they went to the police themselves. The police themselves come back and ask me the same question. Okay. They never stopped me. The people see that the police never stopped me. They take it to a higher standard, a higher level. They went to the minister and tell the minister, my pressure wash is making too much noise. They cannot take the noise of my pressure wash. Then the minister came to me and have a meeting with me, with the tailors in the CDC, and asked me to stop the pressure wash. She will give me a car wash. That's what she said to me. I was the first man in the first meeting with her, with the tailors in the CDC. That's how that car wash ended up building there and it goes to the bus stand. Yeah.
So for those who are not familiar with the area, you have the CDC buildings and the 2 blocks in the new buildings. You have a car wash on one corner, that is Sweetie's Car Wash. And then you have Money Wash, which is on the other corner. And Sarah Flood's accommodation of them, rival business people, is to put them together in a 4-booth car wash area. Now, what's worse is that 4-booth car wash area, after forcing rivals, not only rivals on the business sense, but rivals also who have different affiliations and support for different political parties, to put them right next to each other when already they were forcibly apart and directly competing with each other. So let's hear now from Black Boy over at Money Wash. So how long have you been washing cars here?
It's approximately 5 years, going up to 6.
How many people do you employ?
Well, it's a 3-man partnership. I am not going to say the name of the 3-man partnership. Me and my 2 friends. We come out together on our own and try to build something, and that's what we're still doing.
My understanding is that the residents were complaining about the noise of the pressure washers.
Yeah, that's the problem. They were complaining about on mornings when we come out to put out the pressure wash, it's making too much noise. That's one of the issues on the bus drivers and the horns in the morning.
How long has it been since y'all have been waiting to go into that facility?
I think that facility started building maybe 2 years. I could say 2 years ago. So you could say we've been waiting for about 2 years already. They approach us because, like you see, we come out and we get money. We put in our own work, we hustle on our own to come out to support ourselves and to support our family, right? So they approach us, say they will take us over there. We're still over here doing our same thing, still waiting. Same thing.
So let's connect the dots, because this one seems a bit strange, right? Because the whole point I'm trying to make is that people are being marginalized in their own communities, even if they supported this government, the Shastney administration. We've gone through Choiseul, we've gone through ancillary canneries, we've gone through Grosley, we've gone through, where else have we missed there? We've gone through Soufre as well, and now we're at Castries Central. But doesn't that sound like a good thing? That Sarah Flood, in listening to the tenants over at the CDC buildings, would try to build a whole facility for those guys, and yet for the last 2 years they can't access the facility? Well, the first problem has been that what was supposed to be for 2 rival guys, which was already madness to force them to be right next to each other, has turned out to be 4 car wash people, as somebody from Castries North, who is related to Sarah Flood, also wants to be in there, and another United Workers Party supporter connected to Concreto also wants to be in there. So the guys who had 2 people competing would now be competing 1, 2, 3, and 4 in that 4-booth car wash area. So that's one. But here's the part that really gets me, and that's the part that freaked me out when I heard about it over the weekend. that they actually want the guys to do a training course. They want them to do a 6-week training course in order to get access to the car wash.
When we went to the meeting, they were like, okay, for us now to get assigned to the car wash, we have to go to some program. If we don't enter that program, there's no way in hell we could get there. So from there, we figure out they switch up on us. Because first, remember, over there was promised to us, right? And now we have to go to a program. So what if we choose not to go to the program? Because remember, it's car washing, you know. We learn that on our own. You don't need to go to a program. And to my understanding, the program is a 6-week program where it's like an evaluation. So if you don't do good, you know you're done.
Yeah, that's true. You have to do a course to go in the car wash. Like, you know, some professional course like how to like maybe details and that kind of thing, you understand? Yeah. Well, our next problem is that you understand too much owners, man. That everything knows that they're going to have trouble, like, you get? Yeah, man. The car, she said she should have been the car short me. Then after having the next meeting, she said like we have next meeting with the next guy, so the car wash will be two move for me, two move for the other guy. But right now she want to put 4 fellas in the car wash. But the other two man she want to move there, the man never had a car wash. The man looking for one of the fellas that she consider she will give 2 booth and give me a 2 booth. But right now they want to check it out. The fellas and then got a 3 booth and I got 1. Because the owner of the car wash having 1 and the 2 workers are working with the owner of the car wash, each of the fellas will get in a booth there. So obviously I go end up with 1 booth. You understand? But I don't have a problem I have 1 booth, you know. But the problem I have, what I know, having 4 different owners in that business there, that'll be trouble, that'll be chaos, you understand? Because when customers come to you, they don't call that one down, and them things bring confusion, you understand? Them things bring trouble, check it? Yeah.
So I don't know if it's like a manipulating of the mind, that's what they're trying, but I don't know, I'm trying to figure out what.
And that's disrespect, guys. And check it, I don't know why she do this to, like, if it's more what she looking for, I don't know. But to me, that is totally disrespect. As a lady, as a minister, she's supposed to be thinking more wiser. Why is it than that? You understand? To me, like, there I go. Trust me.
So you still haven't put it together, right? I know. So you have 2 rival car wash guys who have been in business for at least 6 years each. They are on different parts, different territory, on different blocks of the CDC. They have been competing with each other for years. They have this sweetie dangling on the other side, which was supposed to have been built for them. They were already uncomfortable in being forced to be right next to each other. But they figure if they can get the space and appease the CDC residents, then, hey, why not? Only to find out that they would be getting another 2 car washes competing with the already 2 that are competing. They follow and support different parties, and the 2 others that are coming in have tangential relations to United Workers' Party and a family of Sarah Flood. Now, all of that still doesn't answer the question. Why would you require guys to take a 6-week course for them to operate a business that they're already operating in terms of car washing? I didn't know you needed a course to learn to wash cars. I'm not saying there aren't things that you learn on the job, but that's where the racket comes in. Because here you've taken a set of guys who are already in pure competition. You have made life worse for them by putting a facility that's going to bring in more competition, right? You're forcing them to work together, which is not a natural alliance, and you're bringing in even more people from outside the constituency. You're bringing in 2 other people from Castries North. But here's the real killer, folks, that whether you are doing the farm program under Sarah, or whether you are going to try to be in the car wash, you must rent your tools for if you are going to do farm labor from Synergy, from Sarah. And if you are going to do the car wash course, you must do it through Synergy, through Sarah. So Sarah Flood Bobren, in pure conflict of interest, is not only operating a passports covering company within external affairs, but her much lauded and vaunted Synergy, which you would think is a not-for-profit organization, some foundation like a Kiwanis or Rotary Club or, you know, Cornerstone Home for people that are homeless and stuff like that, homeless shelter. No. Anybody taking part in Synergy from her constituency is giving her money in order to be part of the programs and to benefit from what is happening. The phone lines are open now, 5727-588 and 484-7588. We can talk about this or anything else. And when I hear the stories about Shasney and the rest of the people in the cabinet being so upset with him, but everybody thinks it's just Fede and Guy that will stay with him, but Sarah Flood is solidly in Shasney's corner. Now you understand why? Now you understand why? A vote for Spider is a vote for Shasney. A vote for Bradley is a vote for Shasney. A vote for Herod is a vote for Shasney. A vote for Sarah is a vote for Shasney. But it's also votes to allow them to continue to make money hand over fist for themselves, while communities, even if the constituency supports them, those communities continue to suffer even as they pay taxes. So just imagine, think about how petty a mind you must have to be a minister who was bankrupt, who now getting it good under the government. Go to the New York office and the London office to have your flights like Shasney's upgraded to first class, and the payments and transfers don't show that. So people thinking, oh, Prime Minister flying coach or whatever, and Sarah too. Taking care of your stay-at-home husband, he gets an allowance, and all the rest of the perks, everything there. Then you have a foundation with the signage right on the constituency office. Now you know what that means, folks. To have that foundation operating out of a constituency office, the constituency office is paid for by the taxpayers. So that means she's once again operating a personal business within a public space being paid for by the taxpayers of St. Lucia. And now we get to find out, were it not for those car wash guys being upset about how they have to take a course, then people like me would not find out the racket that's going on. That Synergy is taking money from the same constituents, the marginalized people that it is supposed to be helping. If you want to do home gardening in Marigo or wherever, that's why that project is not working out how it's supposed to. And when it has been working, she's been making money for Synergy. Wow. You really think this is sustainable, St. Lucia? Or do you just see these people following just like Shasney? Once they have gotten everything, they will leave. They will go overseas, or they will sit down in their bourgeois enclave. They'll have their houses with their security guards, so you can't get in. And you'll be banging pots and pans outside, empty, hungry, as St. Lucia becomes some sort of neo-colonial version of Haiti. So what happens to you, St. Lucia? Just imagine, we've already spoken about the constituencies that have been marginalized, targeted by this government. Vieux-Fort North, Dennery North, Castries East, Castries South. And now to realize that on top of that, the communities where they did vote, Gros-Islet, Choiseul-Saltibus, Soufrière-Forcé-Jacques, Castries Central, are not only being marginalized and targeted in pocket communities, but on top of that, people, ministers, are benefiting from you being marginalized. Now, folks, my time is up. I don't know. I can only say who feels it knows it. And I'm happy that more and more people are speaking up. I am much happier that more and more people are speaking up. And you know what we need? Even more people to speak up.
Timothy Mangala sent that letter for me, right? He stopped me. Imagine, he sent another paper for me for 53,000, how much plus dollars, right? Cicero land was selling for $4 a square feet. Timothy Mangal want to sell that land Cicero for me for $15 a square feet. Can you imagine that? A lot of corruption is going on in this island, and the people they're sitting back, a lot of party hacks, they're sitting back and allowing those men and those women to do whatever they want. My Lord and Empress, we need to stop those bullshit with all those guys, you know. This is the part 2. Now, I can recall in the same time when I went down to NHC, to Guy Joseph's office, Guy Joseph watching me and tell me NHC truck came and bring materials for me. You check it? I tell him, Guy, a truck came and bring materials for me, but it was Linmore's truck. He tell me you have to investigate that. Up till now, I never heard nothing from that investigation. All I know is there's a hold on. Is it? And election is coming around. A lot of them want to come around. The same people are holding down, you want to come around them to come and vote for you. I'm fed up and tired of your shit. And if St. Lucian ain't tired of your shit, well, I am one not fed up. And I'm going to rally the people for y'all because y'all ain't ready yet, my lord. Y'all doing wrong to the poor and have not. Is it? Y'all is doing wrong. The constitutional rights, you know, give us right to house our family, to raise up a family, and you're holding me down? Come on, man. Come on. Guy Joseph, you have your big house, forest chair, you know. Mangal have his big house from the morning, and he's still occupying how much land. You check it? He occupying how much land he occupying around the place. And what the poor have not can get a place to rest them head, huh? The same citizen. I wish I tell all y'all need to go, my lord. And if St. Lucian people can't take y'all out, they go face some judgment in the St. Lucian their lands, you know? Yeah, I telling you that. And you see, as a matter of fact, as what's going on there right now there, you're causing people to get red on y'all, chaos you're creating. You're causing people to pull up a revolution on y'all in this island, you know? Is it? You need to stop that, what you're doing, you know? Check for the people that are checking for y'all, my lord and empress, you know? Gail Rigobert always coming around a big mouth and holding on the poor people. Imagine as a babu a couple months back, Ezekiel Joseph passing through, a lot of people by the roadside. You mad? He never blessed and healed the people, and the same people who need to vote for y'all. Come on. Hypocrites and heathens and she-dens, you know?
The opinions expressed on this TV program by the hosts, co-hosts, guests, and call-in listeners or chatters are solely the opinions and responsibility of the original source who expressed them. They do not necessarily represent the opinions of UTV or its affiliates.